Over the past few weeks, you've probably been seeing a load of adverts for the new mobile game Lord of the Rings Rise to War. They've been flooding all the social media sites with painfully bad adverts featuring fake gameplay and the finest voice acting Craigslist will get you. Now, absolutely terrible predatory mobile games using non-gameplay footage to trick you into downloading is nothing new, but this is a rather high-profile IP. Lord of the Rings is something quite a few people have heard of, so in my quest to save you all some time, I've downloaded the game, played it for 8 hours, and can now confirm with in-game examples exactly how awful and how predatory it actually is. So sit back, grab a cup of tea, and prepare to marvel at how they've taken the tattered, featureless skin of Lord of the Rings and draped it over a flayed, mangled corpse of something I'm not comfortable calling a game. And before we dive into this complete mess, a huge thank you to the Patreon supporters and Twitch subs who keep the channel alive. More on how you can support at the end. For now, against my better judgment, let's begin. The opening cinematic is actually quite good, and this is where the praise will end. Flying through some stylized battles, all the in-game models are designed to look like tabletop wargaming pieces heavily reminiscent of the Lord of the Rings tabletop game. Now, I'm a big fan of tabletop games, so as long as this game doesn't have too many needlessly complex and obtuse mobile-type upgrade systems, it might be good. Quick side note, this game is made by NetEase, the company behind such global successes as this game and this other game. I mean, to show you how competent these guys are, this is what their official website looks like. See that large white space on the right? That's there because no one has optimized the company website to appear on bigger monitors. Top quality stuff. So Lord of the Rings Rise to War, or is it just War? The game doesn't seem to know, neither does the Facebook group or the Play Store. They use both interchangeably. The game starts and they've copied the voiceover intro from the films, but they've also told the voice actress to crank the sexy, sultry level up to 11.
It began with the forging of the great rings. For within these rings was bound the strength and the will to govern each race. Which side will you choose?
After an uncomfortably intense few minutes, we can choose a faction. There are 10 to choose from. You've got Gondor, Rohan, you can even play as Mordor, but you can't play as the elves because Lothlorien is full. And despite what the original advert said, there is no secret Shire faction. Now, credit where credit is due, the background music is actually really nice, and the voiceover so far has been acceptable, if a little bit sultry. I don't know which faction passive buff is best, so I just go with Gondor.
Your ring. What does it look like?
Damn game, at least buy me dinner first. So we design our ring because every player has a ring of power in this game. The design is total fluff and doesn't matter at all. It's just surface level junk to make you feel invested. And then we meet Gandalf, who is voiced.
You are awake. Excellent. It seems you were dreaming.
With no chance at all to get our bearings, we are thrown into a battle. Well, I say we are thrown in, we aren't. We get to watch a battle happen, and we have some minor control over the camera, because the main gameplay loop of Rise to War is level up buildings and then watch things happen that you can't actually affect. The good guys win because this section is scripted, and now we level up our ring. This is the first of many systems the game will throw at us and tell us exactly what to do without giving us time to absorb anything it's showing or understand how it helps us. Because it's not about understanding, it's about clicking quickly and watching numbers get bigger and sparkles happen. What do those numbers mean? When are they relevant? Doesn't matter. Click what it tells you to click. Now Gollum shows up because he was in Lord of the Rings, so he gets some screen time. In fact, everyone gets to appear. It's like a Christmas special episode where every character shows up for the sake of showing up, and we'll talk about why this is bad later. We're told Sauron is bad because apparently none of us have seen the films, and we get given a gift box. These gifts will be used to gain the respect of commanders who will lead our units, and we can get more gifts every 24 hours. Fantastic! The time gating has started nice and early. The first commander we recruit is Faramir. We do this by throwing beer at him, which any Lord of the Rings fan will tell you is completely accurate, because Faramir was clearly a raging alcoholic and not the noble captain of the White Tower. I don't care what the books say, I'm taking this as canon from now on. We assemble our army by clicking and dragging on yet another screen for yet another system, and then Gandalf tells us to...
Now that you have an army, defeat Sauron's minions and save your friend.
What are you on about, save our friend? Who is the friend? This is the first time anyone has mentioned saving a friend. I don't have any friends, that's why I'm playing this game. Did you forget to fill in the opening of your plot? Are we supposed to have any idea what the hell you're on about, Gandalf? So we click on some tiles because the main game is a tiled overworld with our little outpost in the middle, and we get into some combat, and nothing I can say will adequately explain how dull this combat is, so I'll just let you watch it.
That's a ring. Relinquish it and I'll spare you.
You have my thanks for your help. We might not have had the strength to fend them off without you. Allow my army and I to join forces with you. It seems our goals are one and the same.
Oh good, we've saved Dwalin. Remember that bit in the books where memory lost Gandalf watched drunk Faramir save incompetent Dwalin from bandits? Yeah, that was a good bit. And now we're on to chapter 2. And it seems they've given up on voiceovers from this point forward because voiceovers are expensive and they probably didn't expect anyone to get this far. We need to upgrade our barracks. We do this by going to the building upgrade screen and then we upgrade in the main hall, and this is a click and wait system. You use resources. We'll look at these later because in 8 hours of gameplay I never once came close to running out of any of them or knowing where any of them even came from. So the early game direction is given to you through this scroll. It lists the goals we need to achieve to advance on to the next chapter, and clicking go on the scroll takes you to the screen you need to be on, which is definitely efficient, but it's teaching you to rely on shortcuts and not actually taking any time to explain the layout or relation between screens or systems. You don't learn how each thing relates to each other thing because you're thrown to random screens via the scroll. This is not how you teach a player systems. Without the scroll, you'd basically have no idea what to do. Another screen upgrading the commander's skills and attributes. I need to reiterate, these are not skills or abilities you yourself use or have any control over. They are automatically used in the sequences the game pathetically tries to pass off as gameplay. And while I'm upgrading these skills I don't control, I was wondering how many upgrade systems are there in the game so far. I've been playing, well, not playing, I've been clicking stuff for about an hour, and we've already had, big breath, resources generated per hour, 4 specific resources collected through various means within 5 different bonus factors affecting the generation of each one, 4 different army combat stats while marching, including commander stamina expenditure when that's gone, you're waiting or paying to get it back, wounded soldier recovery time, soldier death rate in battles, and your marching speed from tile to tile. Then there's power production, which is used to power up your ring. Power comes from personal, fellowship or faction advancement. Then you've got ability points used for gathering resources faster or staging mock battles against yourself to grind experience. There's gold, the regular currency levied from the levy screen, which recharges every few hours but can also be doubled with green gems, and you can buy green gems later. They are your first premium currency. You've then got land and tile ownership system, which generates power, but the land you can own is limited by your chapter progress. You've got commanders, each with an army. Armies are made up of 3 troop types but capped at the individual commander's leadership skill, which gives you a combined battle rating and stamina total. Then you have the barracks, which trains troops and costs gold and time. Then the trained troops are added to the armies via the reinforcement screen. Then there's the ring itself, which is powered up by adding the power points you've collected from owned land, and this levels it up and gives you tech points to spec into 4 different build paths. Then you've got the ability points, which increase one of 7 different mechanics. Then there's the item system, which allows you to equip commanders with 4 different types of items, from basic armor to upgrade items to respect increasing items, which you use to entice new commanders to leave the command search map and appear in the tavern screen. Then you upgrade those commanders, such as individual skills and levels, and equip them, but only if they're garrisoned inside the city. You cannot upgrade a commander if it's not in your city, but to find new commanders you need the rare respect increasing items, which are found in the Mathon Peddler, which is a premium shop which needs Mathon tokens and gives loot boxes which might give rare items. We'll look at the drop rates later. Then there's an in-game mailing system, which is actually already full of free items gifted to you just for being here. Then there's the tavern, where you can pay for local rumours to unlock recon missions to send idle commanders to hunt items, which is basically a huge AFK time sink to get the new items. Did you get all that? Good. Look, if you're confused, you're supposed to be. That's how these type of games work. The overwhelming amount of systems, the various currencies, the obtuse relationships between screens and numbers and skills and levels and powers and abilities and tech points and mock battles and items and passives, it's one giant psychological trick against the player. You aren't meant to be able to follow it, because if you could follow it, you'd be able to beat it. Mobile games love convoluted systems because there's always something you forgot, and by the time you remember, you're faced with the choice of waiting a long time to level it up or paying to boost through it. You are meant to be lost, because then they can sell you the way to become found. I passed the chapter by clicking where the scroll points, and now I need to build a stable, more systems, base building. There's no gameplay, it's just click and watch a bar fill. Then we need to conscript soldiers, which means sliding this bar to max and waiting 20 real world minutes, or paying for a boost. Oh yeah, if you ever see a timer on anything, you can pay real money to buy items which reduce that specific timer. But how much real money is the game aiming at taking off you? Well, the largest pack in the shop is £99.99, around $130 for 23,000 gems. And for a first-time purchase bonus, you'll get double your order, so they're really pushing you to buy more on your first go, which is another psychological trick, because you think, well, the biggest pack is the best value, so you buy a big pack. Then, even if you do want to quit later, you think, well, I've spent money, be a waste to quit now, and the sunk cost fallacy sinks its claws into you, and the game has got you. But hey, maybe you don't want to drop 100 quid. That's fine. You can buy Aragorn, a new commander, for 99 pence. Isn't that nice? That's pretty cheap. And after seeing the £100 pack thrust in your face, this feels like a bargain. Now, the cynical retail manager inside me wants to explain that placing a cheap item next to an expensive item is another psychological trick, because the expensive item was never meant to be sold. It's used as a price anchoring point in the customer's mind to make the cheap item look even cheaper by comparison, despite the fact the cheap item is costing the company literally doing nothing because it's digital and the expensive item was never there to be sold anyway. Its only job is to make something else seem cheap by relation. And I'm sure the need for a commander won't be a bottleneck within my short playtime, thus pushing me back to the shop to spend money to continue playing at a decent pace while all other commanders happen to lose some form of stamina at some time. Spoilers! Literally exactly this happens. I return to doing as the scroll commands. If you've not played these kind of games before, allow me to explain. You get introduced to a system, told what it does, told what to click, then introduced to another. You are never given enough time with any system to actually begin to understand it. Imagine you met some hyperactive kid who spent the last few years of their life making up a crazy complex fantasy world in their head complete with make-believe games, and they try to explain all the years of backstory to you within 15 minutes, including the rules to the game they've made up. And they just jump from point to point with no real through line or narrative. That's exactly how playing this feels. You are told what to do, but not why you should do it. You think I'm kidding about the lack of gameplay? Watch me save this caravan that's under attack that the game has built up to be an actual set-piece moment. That was it. That was the thing. That was the rescue. That was the name of the chapter. That was the event the whole chapter is built around. I hope you had fun. Send my unused commanders off to find some treasure on a secondary tavern mission, build an apothecary and find yet another system, heal troops, but again it's a time-gated bars going down. That again you can pay to speed up. Oh, that idle mission from the tavern, it's going to take 2 hours, meaning one of my commanders is now out of action for the next 2 hours. And I've got a load of items, but you can only upgrade or equip your commanders if they're back at the main city, so if you've been exploring and capturing land, which isn't anywhere near as fun as it sounds, it literally means clicking on an overworld tile and waiting. You need to recall your commander back to the city, equip them and then send them back, and recalling takes actual time as you watch them walk across the map, but hey, you can buy items which make the marching faster. Allocate more points to commanders. This feels like an exercise in pointless number embiggening, because fights are just watching your troops move onto a tile and waiting like 5 seconds to see if you win. Upgrading buildings is watching more bars, and then Gandalf returns from wherever the hell he's been. He's brought some soldiers with him, and then we upgrade the main hall by spending 4.5 minutes watching a bar fill up. I've managed to gather enough beer from the scroll quest that I can get Sean Bean drunk enough to join me as a commander, so I give Ned Stark his own little army and send him off to hopefully not die, although we all know that's going to happen eventually. The next quest on the scroll needs me to join or create a fellowship, the game's in-game guild. Joining seems dodgy, so I try and create one, but creating one costs 200 gems, which is convenient as the game gives you 200 to start with. What a specific number to need me to spend in the main quest, so I have to buy more from the shop if I ever need them in the future. Anyway, I am now the owner of Like and Subscribe, so I would appreciate if you did. I would say I'm a proud owner, but I'm not proud of anything in this game so far. Then I go and upgrade more buildings, and look, every time I click on the upgrade pop-up, it says, Fellowship asked for help. Oh god, remember those Farmville or Mafia City type games on Bebo or Facebook or MySpace where you would do them and you ask your friends to send you resources by signing up? It's that all over again. Game design is evolving backwards. Chapter 7, myself, Gandalf the Grey and Sharp, ride north and meet King Aragorn in his home of Minas Tirith inside Gondor. Now, if you're thinking, hang on, if Aragorn is king, how is Alex Trevelyan still alive? And why isn't Gandalf in his digivolved form of Gandalf the White? And why is Durin here at all? My biggest issue with this game is it uses the Lord of the Rings mantle to attract fans of the franchise, but fans of the franchise are the ones who are going to notice that you've got it wrong. You are aiming your game at nerds, a demographic known for being only slightly obsessed with fictional accuracy, and you've thrown everything that made the stories and relationships of the characters memorable, mainly the emotional journey, and replaced it with this. You've draped the hollow facade of Aragorn over some empty simulacrum and expected me to be happy when I'm just saddened this game even exists. The soulless husk pretending to be Aragorn has given me yet another system, the Red Book of Westmarch. This is both the most engaging and absolute worst part of the game so far. The Red Book lets you relive famous battles from Middle-earth by taking control of an army, but just watch. In this first story, we are controlling the forces of Mordor against Haldir. You can choose the commander and which army, and you've got a selection of a few once you're on the map, and then you can move to a tile controlled by the enemy and you'll fight. And by fight, I mean you watch the fight happen painfully slowly while doing nothing. And why is Haldir being played by Nicolas Cage? But ignore that, watch this. This is gameplay. Your forces clash against their forces, and you cannot do anything. You literally watch this happen. The only control you have is the speed increase. You can watch the battles at 1, 2 or 3 times speed. And even at 3 times speed, they take actual minutes to finish. This is painfully slow. This is the game. And remember those special attacks you've been leveling up and giving your commander? Those skills get used here automatically, and they have very minor effects in the battle. And when those skills get used, your commander appears on screen and you see a little flashy animation. It reminds me of Advanced Wars, except Advanced Wars was good. Incidentally, Advanced Wars is going to be one of the classic games you'll be able to vote on me replaying on the second channel, Josh Strife Plays, link in the description below. Seamless plug. And when you win, because you will win, you just go and attack another enemy group. And if you lose, it doesn't matter, because you just choose another one of the commanders you get given at the start, and you keep going because the enemy doesn't heal from battle to battle. So you just keep throwing wave after wave of your own men at them until you eventually win Zap Brannigan style. This is the equivalent of giving your little brother the controller that isn't plugged in and telling him he's doing well. The least important part of this whole experience is the player. Just imagine this didn't have the Lord of the Rings brand. Would you play? Would anyone? The mechanics of this quote-unquote game are tedious, non-interactive and overwhelming all at the same time. This is the antithesis of competent player-friendly game design. The only thing this has going for it is the branding. And they've got that so shockingly wrong that the people that have been attracted by the branding are going to take one look at it and then leave. Next up we have the Witch King versus Thranduil. You know, for a fact, I'm going to win, because this is a preset mission, but just watch. If you're considering downloading this game, this is what you're going to get. Why am I doing this? This isn't even my story. I designed my ring and recruited my commanders, and now I'm watching armies that I didn't build, fighting armies that I don't care about in a game mode that I can't interact with. How is this a game? Anyway, I finish the book mission and get told I need to wait one whole day before I can unlock the next. Oh no, what a shame. The scroll quests now need me to upgrade more buildings, but this is where the anti-player mechanics begin to show. The upgrades have reached the 2-minute or longer stage per building, and you've only got 2 upgrade queues available, but the shop does sell you a third queue for 30 days. You can rent the extra build queue, can't even buy it permanently. And oh, my commander's stamina is used up with every movement or tile takeover and is starting to run very low. And oh good, the ring upgrade grind, the only system I did grasp, has been expanded. And the sphere grid is even bigger. We Path of Exile now, boys. Oh cool, there's a high graphics mode, which seems to mean do you want everything to be a little bit brighter. So I'm running out of low power rating tiles to take over, so I try and take over a level 30 tile and the game tells me, hey, you're probably going to lose this, but I figure what's the worst that could happen? Well, when you lose, your commander gets locked up on that tile for 5 minutes while recovering, so you just have to wait. I send my remaining commanders to take every level 1 tile I can find, and if I lose a few troops every time, I go to check the medic center and realise it's going to take 40 real-world minutes to heal all of my units, so I just burn through what time-saving items the game has given me so I can keep slogging on. Eventually, Faramir runs out of stamina and it recharges incredibly slowly. I'm talking actual hours, so I scour the shop to buy some restore potions and I can't find any. Seriously, I think the only potions exist in the gacha-style loot boxes. You can't just buy stamina, you need to gamble for it. So with my main or most powerful commander out of action for the next few hours, what can I do? I just send off my other 2 to take what land they can. So I decide to try the mock battle system where you fight yourself to level up. And this doesn't even give you a graphical overlay of the battle. It just locks up both commanders for 10 actual minutes on a tile with the word mock battle above it. I can't do anything. Both build queues are full, Faramir's asleep, Boromir and Dwalin are fighting each other, and the only gameplay left, and I use that word incredibly loosely, is to use the red book to watch more historical simple fights play out, which I don't really feel like. Oh, here's an annoying feature for all you completionists out there. The icons around the edge have a little red dot when there's something new related to them, and if you want to get rid of that red dot, you need to go and do the new thing, like reading a mail from a battle and the game sends you a report after every tile taken, or a new commander item is ready to look at. But the icon to the top right will always have a red dot, because the thing it's reminding you to do is to join the Facebook page, then the Facebook group, which are two separate things for some reason, and then the Discord channel. And if you don't do this, the red dot won't go away. So if you want a clean UI, you have to join the social media. Faramir needs another 27 minutes until he can move a single tile, and the mock battle has 7 minutes remaining. I basically need another commander to carry on playing this game. Isn't it strange how the first option in the shop is now, hey, do you want to buy Aragorn, a really good commander, for 99p? But I could also get commanders from the recruitment scroll accessed through the tavern, but to do this you need to give those commanders a specific item to increase their respect for you until they are going to be recruited and appear in the tavern. So how much would this cost to do? Well, the elite commanders need 9,000 respect to appear in your tavern, and each specific item they want increases the respect by 300, so you need 30 elite items per commander, and there are 9 different elite commanders. And the respect given items appear in these loot boxes, and they have a drop rate on each pull of 7.5%, a 7.5% chance of hitting the elite commander respect item table, and there are 9 different possibilities on that table, and you need to hit the same item on that table 30 times. The maths on this means with a 7.5% chance to hit the elite commander respect item, you'd need an average of 13 pulls to hit the table once if you're pretty lucky, and hitting it is still a 1 in 9 chance. That's an 11% chance on top of 13 pulls to get one of the items you want, and you need 30. But let's say you're astronomically lucky and you hit an elite respect increasing item every 13 pulls, and it's the exact 1 out of 9 that you need. With this perfect luck, you'd need to open the loot box 390 times, and each opening costs a token, and you can buy 10 medals or 10 tokens for $1.99. And that is with the 900% purchase price boost that's currently active. So normally this would cost you 10 times as much. So 390 of them at the current deal would set you back £77. That's close to $100 with a 900% purchase price boost. So if you got luckier than any other human being in history and hit the rare table every 13 pulls and got the exact 1 of 9 you wanted every time without fail, with a 900% boosting in your purchase pull price, a single elite commander will set you back roughly $100. All my commanders are out of stamina. I can't do anything in the main game without paying or waiting literal hours. I could go and replay the Book of Missions, but that's not gameplay, that's the world's dullest cutscenes. Lord of the Rings Rise to War, or just War, whatever you want to call yourself, is a mobile game relying on a horrific combination of stamina-based overworld gameplay, time-gated city building, and an extensive confusing repertoire of upgrade systems designed to confuse you, and the ability to pay to skip all of this. It throws far too much at you in the first 2 hours, then slows to an absolute crawl unless you pay to skip the agonising waiting times. The Lord of the Rings skin itself does nothing to save it, because they've done nothing with the skin. They've used the named locations with no geographical consistency to canon, they've used named characters with no emotional depth, and they've somehow managed to translate the epic adventure of the peoples of Middle-earth into a battle simulator with no player input. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth did this better back in 2006. I played this for 8 hours, and I can honestly say the most involved and emotionally interesting experience of those 8 hours was trying to delete BlueStacks emulator once I was done. Seriously, this thing is a nightmare to get rid of. To end this review, I will award Lord of the Rings Rise to War. Seriously, how do I get rid of the BlueStacks emulator? This thing is buried deeper than the Balrog out of 10. Cheers for watching. Thank you again for the support on Patreon and Twitch. To keep the channel alive, you can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, and the second channel, Josh Strife Plays, where I review old games voted on by you. And as always, have a great day.